Hey everyone, I'm sure by now a lot of you have heard about the new law that has come into effect in France that has now banned face concealing veils, essentially banning Islamic clothing such as the niqab and the burqa. Any woman wearing such items can be stopped by the police and given a fine. It's a small fine, but it's quite a big symbolic change. Now, I have a few problems with measures such as this. First off is one of the possible consequences of having the audacity to wear one of these pieces of clothing is, maybe having to attend a citizenship course. As if Muslims who wear the burqa are somehow less French than Muslim women who don't wear one, or any other person in France. Why is it that Muslim women who wear one of these garments may have to go on a citizenship course? What the fuck do they have to prove? Just because their feelings on what it may mean to be French or to live in France may differ from the French government, this doesn't mean that they are somehow anti-French and want to bring destruction to the streets of Paris or something. And what does wearing a burqa have to do with the feelings or knowledge someone has about the country they live in anyway? I mean, it's a flawed system regardless, the whole citizenship course, citizenship tests anyway. Somehow knowing more about certain subjects, about the country that you're residing in, somehow makes you more French or British or something than someone who doesn't. Knowledge doesn't have much bearing to me as to whether or not you are a certain nationality, but that's another matter entirely. The French government have to be careful here in not creating an us versus them mentality, as that will only worsen their cause. I could see how any Muslim woman would be offended by this, even if they don't wear a burqa, because it's still one less thing they are allowed to do because of narrow-minded politicians who aren't addressing the real problem. You make the moderates in a religion angry, and while they still won't go to the extremes that fanatics will, they will still be angry at the government for bringing about this law, and which I assume is the opposite reaction that they want. Now, there are exceptions that you'll be able to see in the link that I'll leave in the low bar. Including for religious processions, which I just thought was funny. Motorcycle helmets are exempt too, which of course I can understand. Apparently you cover your face for safety reasons, but not for religious reasons. Also was the fact that, as far as I can see, this law only applies to women, which just creates a big old double standard for me. Now you might say, well, that's just stupid. Men don't wear the burqa, and you're correct, but they still have the right to, don't they? And women don't, and that's one of the problems for me about this particular measure. Okay, now I want to talk about the argument that opponents bring up, which is that no woman really wants to wear the burqa or the niqab, and any woman who doesn't is just brainwashed into thinking that they do. Okay, I'll give you that point. Some of them do, but here's my question: how can you tell? How can you tell whether a woman is wearing a burqa because of pride or devotion to her religion, or because someone is forcing her to wear it? I mean, are we talking about taking each wearer and subjecting them to interviews or psychological examinations? I mean, who would carry them out? Who would judge them? Do you have the right to do that, even if some of them are deluded in why they are doing it? That is just not feasible. It would take far too much money, too much manpower, and too much time. So how else would you figure this out? How about women, not Muslim women, any other woman living in France who may wear short skirts or wear makeup because they are forced to by partners, or because of peer pressure, or any other social influence. Are we really going to delve into the minds of everyone who lives in France to find out if they are doing something because of someone else and then force them to stop it? No, thank you. I know this may be controversial, but some people may be deluded, yes, but do we really have the right to invade their lives and their privacy and force our own thoughts of what is right and wrong? I mean, I don't see many of these people saying, we should go into, fanatical Christians' lives and, finding out which women are being subjugated by their men and, forcing them to do things that they might not want to do. You don't see that. It only seems to be Muslims for some reason. So don't single out Muslims, alright? Because this happens in all corners of society. And let's not forget that there's a grey area here, such as women who may not want to wear these particular items of clothing, but do it because it makes their husbands happy. There's a difference there. Can any of you proponents really say that you've never done anything purely to make someone else happy, or because someone else would like it? You know, making decisions like that is a right I'd rather not have taken away if I was one of these people that this law affects. And if I was doing such a thing, you know, I'd rather not have the government say I can't do it because I'm not doing it for myself. You know, the French government is putting their own standards onto women, you know, saying a free and equal woman must dress certain ways and behave within certain parameters, or else you're just not equal the way that they feel you should be. And if we see you out there not equating to what we consider free, you may not be French enough, so you may have to learn some facts about the French political system, because that's such a great way of making people align with the country more. You know, I think that must be why voting is always so high. And finally, I don't really understand the end game with this thing. You want to make women more equal, and you want to do this by saying they cannot wear something, or else they may get a fine and have their patriotism questioned. And this is supposed to make people what? Not want to wear the burqa anymore? Don't you think this is no, not really dealing with the problem, and instead just dealing with the symptom? To me, the problem is with the men who think they can tell their partners exactly what to do, and think that they have complete control over them. You know, making burqa wearers pay a fine doesn't really solve that problem. You know, those women, the women that are forced to wear it, are still going to be under the heel of their men, and they're still going to be subjugated to their demands by doing whatever the man wants. You know, that problem is still going to be there. You know, and nothing I've seen in this law, or anything that anybody's put forward, is going to put a stop to that. Anyway, that's what I think. You know, my opinions are subject to change. I just thought they'd throw a few things out there and see what people have to say about them. Anyway, I think that's all for me now. Cheerio.